Hi, everybody. Okay, so we are going to continue weighing up the journalistic code of conduct against how Harry and Meghan were used by the media and how they used the media, and on whose side the scales of justice should tip. So let's go. Number 7 protects the identity of sources who supply information in confidence and material gathered in the course of his or her work. Again, this goes without saying. This is how it should be. Even little old me with a YouTube channel will not name a source unless or until they tell me outright that they want to be credited for the information, which very rarely happens. Anyway, I've not yet seen the media outing one of their sources, but instead we see that the Sussexes have a tendency to use an insider, a spokesperson, or a friend to speak to the media on their behalf. Now, that is nothing new either. The palace has a media liaison officer. Most celebrities will have a lawyer or a dedicated person in their PR company, or maybe even a secretary or family member who will often speak on their behalf. It happens so often that we don't even blink an eye. But when it comes to Meghan Markle, we are overly aware of all these spokespeople, insiders, etc., speaking out because, in the end, they are always outed by the Sussexes themselves. Here is one example. An article states that Meghan and Harry are heading for Splitsville, blah, blah, blah. But that an insider said it was not true, that they love each other and are indeed still very happy and living their best lives. Now you can really wait for it. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Okay? The next day, another publication publishes that Nacho Figueras had spoken up and stated that his friends, Harry and Meghan, are not heading for a divorce, blah, blah, blah. You see, Meghan is as shrewd as the day is long. If an article or headline does not get the readership, clicks, views, etc., that she was hoping for, then she tweaks it a little. And if there is someone who loves to name drop, then it is Meghan Markle. She does not care whether it could embarrass the other person or not. If the name of the source or someone she planted as a source could generate more interest, then she'll drop and expose that person without looking back. And she has done so many, many times. Ask Jessica Mulroney. Oh, yes, the media and social media may viciously protect our or their sources, mainly because they or we want them to talk to us again. Meghan Markle does not care. It is all about her, her, and her. Me, and me again. So, is it strange or unfair that so many public figures are now publicly speaking up and speaking out about or against the Harkles and Meghan in particular? No, because once they, Harry and Meghan, opened the door first and people are going, if they can do it, so can I. And although it may be unethical for journalists, it is again about what sells. And a famous name or face sells. Gossip sells. And gossip can even save a failing career. I'm just saying. Number 8, resist threats or any other inducement to influence, distort, or suppress information and takes no unfair personal advantage of information gained in the course of his or her duties before the information is public knowledge. Why this clause is still in there, no one knows, because these days it is all about money. Besides, before we go to Harry and Meghan about this one, if there is anybody or any particular one organization who have perfected the art of using power, influence, or even money to suppress information, it is the British monarchy. Yes, sometimes we have theories as to what, where, when, but it is common knowledge that King Charles, even as Prince Charles, have paid or used his influence to have articles shelved, some of them permanently. Something I and many others can prove to you over and over and over again. It is common knowledge. It has been talked about even by the British press ad nauseum. However, Meghan and Harry have done this repeatedly. Again, shall I remind you? Piers Morgan, Jeremy Clarkson, Sharon Osbourne, Alison P. Davis, and the list goes on. Because the moment Meghan Markle does not like what you wrote or you said, she will call your boss and have you fired. So, for many young or journalists of lesser known papers and channels, this is indeed scary, and they thus refrain from telling the truth. A very, very nasty situation, and one which should not be tolerated. Number 9, produces no material likely to lead to hatred or discrimination on the grounds of a person's age, gender, race, color, creed, legal status, disability, marital status, or sexual orientation. Well, journalists may refrain from discriminating because they care about living within the law and the boundaries of law and respect. Of course, a journalist can be sued for slander. So, in general, a journalist will be very careful what they say in public or what they have printed in their newspapers. But looking at Meghan and Harry, they have absolutely no boundaries, no mark they won't overstep. Outing his first sexual experience in a book giving such detailed description that everybody who has met this woman or knew her knew who she was. He was not thinking, not for 1 minute, that she is now a 40-year-old mother who would not like or who do not appreciate her past splattered all over the world. How many times have Harry thrown his brother William under the bus, getting so intimate that he thought it was essential that we know that William was circumcised? Just read how Harry spoke and joked about a matron with a disability. When we talk about race, remember him sporting swastikas, calling a fellow soldier a pucky or a raghead? Yes, Harry and Meghan don't care, and they likely never have, because to date there had been no consequences for their vile actions, so why should they care? Anyway, moving on. Number 10, does not, by way of statement, voice, or appearance, endorse by advertisement any commercial product or service save for the promotion of his or her own work or of the medium by which he or she is employed. Now, here is a very silly example of what this clause means. I'm going to read you the original. It reads, this is according to Matthew Cruz, Head of Business Intelligence and Public Relations at Home Energy who said blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is what an unethical journalist, one who does not play by the rules, would do but shouldn't do, is not allowed to do. Okay? This is according to Matthew Cruz, who is head of business and public relations, who is in his Gucci shoes and Armani coat while smoking a camel and with a glass of the Kranz Pinotage Rosé in front of him, told me. See how the imaginary journalist used an ordinary news piece to merge, likely getting a kickback from the companies he or she mentioned. No, that is not allowed because the advertising space and time is sold by the newspaper or radio station or television station and is played before, after, during a program or placed in strategic places in newspapers and magazines. And in that way, the radio station, streaming service, newspaper, magazine actually earn money. So journalists and reporters know that if they make private deals such as these, they will get fired. Meghan Markle, however, has the nicest scam running. She calls, she lets Dior, for instance, know that she's in a terrible bind. She has 2 days to come up with something to wear to an event. Okay, so Dior sends her something, and in the meantime, while this is in transit, Meghan phones up every paparazzi she can think of and ensures that they send 1, 2, or 3 of their best photographers. And before you know it, Meghan's mirror, amongst others, knows exactly which brand Meghan wore, and the grifting begins. She gets a free outfit and likely a financial kickback. Yeah, a nice shady way to earn money, particularly when you can still convince your father-in-law that he was actually paying for those clothes. Thus, a lucrative double grift. So is it wrong or unfair that some of us are earning money off Harry and Meghan, talking about them when they are doing the same and even worse? I'm asking you. Please let me know in the comment section. Number 11. A journalist shall normally seek the consent of an appropriate adult when interviewing or photographing a child for a story about her or his welfare. Well, most countries regulate that by law, so quite frankly, they do not have a choice. So it is very likely that each time we see the Harkles children photographed in public, it is likely true that one of the parents requested it or gave permission for it, at least to be published. Because who on earth would want to take a photograph, sell it, and then have to go to court and fight probably a multi-thousand-dollar battle? Is it worth it to anyone? No, it's not. So you can bet your bottom dollar that each and every time we see a photograph of Archie and Lily in public, it was likely taken by someone Meghan asked to take the photograph. Yet, we also need to mention that regardless of their request for privacy for their children, they, Harry and Meghan, themselves splashed these children all over and throughout their own Netflix series, even including a photograph of Archie in the bath. Very odd. Number 12, avoid plagiarism. Oh, that's a good one. I've seen copies of articles regarding Meghan, but not really plagiarized articles. Yes, papers recycle each other's articles. The one pays the other for a copy of an article. But not so Meghan Markle. No, no, no. Oh, my word. She is, without a doubt, the queen of plagiarism. And here are just a few examples. Remember the New York Times article about her miscarriage? She wrote, I dropped to the floor with him in my arms, humming a lullaby to keep us both calm. The cheerful tune, a stark contrast to my sense that something was not right. I knew as I clutched my firstborn child that I was losing my second. Okay. Out there is a book called Chasing Life by Stephanie Tong from Vancouver, Canada. And it reads, I clutched her tightly and cried into her. As I tenderly held my firstborn in my arms, I was saying goodbye to my third. But, of course, Megan had to spruce it up a bit, so she touched it up with a line from Steel Magnolias. I felt a sharp pain and fell to the floor, clutching my firstborn. Oh boy, it goes on and on and on. Eleanor Roosevelt. It is not enough to talk about peace. We must believe in it. Meghan Markle. It isn't enough to simply talk about equality. We must believe in it. The list goes on and on and on. Meghan Markle takes a quote or a statement or even parts of books, TV shows, changes a word or two, and then claims it for herself. Georgia O'Keeffe, Cindy Crawford, Grey's Anatomy, Dalai Lama, John F. Kennedy, and many, many others have provided Meghan with words. Words she uses without giving credit to the owners. Actually, if you are so inclined and want to see more about this, you can go watch a video by the traveling architect called Duchess of Plagiarism, Why People Think Meghan Lacks Originality. Anyway, so there you have it, folks. The code of conduct for British and Irish journalists versus Harry and Meghan's conduct. So, in the comment section below, please tell me what you think. Do you think the media crossed the boundaries with Harry and Meghan and overplayed their hand? Or do they, Harry and Meghan, deserve everything they are getting and more? Okay, guys, like I said last week, I have a list of things I want to work through, topics which may not be the latest news or in mainstream at the moment, but that is why we are here to talk and to learn and not just to follow the flock blindly. Okay, my friends, so until we meet again on the next one, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.